With just 3 games left in the 2022 regular season, the Evansville Otters still have work to do to punch their ticket to the 2022 Frontier League playoffs. A good evening to you, and welcome into Florence, Kentucky. I'm Matthew Will, joining you here from Thomas More Stadium, where the Otters hope that tonight is the night that they finally punch their ticket to this year's postseason. They've been in a position that they could do it now for almost a week, but things did not go so well in Washington. The team heads up to Pennsylvania, loses all 3, and now we'll have to find some success here in Northern Kentucky in order to grab the all-important win and then hope for Lake Erie to help them out as well. And it could happen as soon as tonight. The exact number is at 2, so a win tonight from the Otters and a Lake Erie loss would officially punch the ticket. The only way that Evansville finds themselves out of the postseason is if they finish with 2 wins fewer than Lake Erie. So to simplify the math for you, if the Otters win 1 game of this 3-game set, Lake Erie would have to sweep at Gateway. If the Otters get swept here at Florence, then Lake Erie would just need 2 wins at Gateway in order to grab that final spot. At least right now, it's looking like that canceled game between the Otters and the New York Boulders might come in handy for Evansville. As for if the Otters could still host on Tuesday night, that is also very possible, as Schaumburg is on their way to Joliet. Crosstown rivalry going on there. Evansville would need 2 more wins than Schaumburg, just like the way that Lake Erie would need for Evansville, in order to grab the 2 spot. So if Evansville swept here, then Schaumburg can only win 1 at Joliet. If Schaumburg goes winless, the Otters need 2 wins here to be able to host Tuesday night's wild card game. First of all, the Otters need to win tonight, get themselves that 1 game closer, and potentially even clinch their spot tonight, and that would certainly ease the mind of this team, the staff, these players. Everybody would have a little bit of simpler walk to the ballpark tomorrow. Once you've got that in hand, you know you're at least in. Now it's working on where you're seated, and they could do that tonight. Lake Erie is at Gateway to take on the Grizzlies for these last 3. Schaumburg at Joliet to finish these last 3. Those will be the 2 games we're really focused on. The only other teams going on in the West Division is Windy City making the trip to Washington. Right now, Washington's just competing to potentially win the Frontier League's regular season championship with, I believe, 1 game back now of Quebec as they enter these final 3 games. Players have made their way back to each dugout, and we are just about to bring them onto the field for the national anthem and starting lineups. After that, we've got first pitch here from Florence, Kentucky, between the Yalls and the Otters. Evansville trying to clinch their spot in the postseason tonight. Don't go anywhere. First pitch comes at you next. An absolutely beautiful night for baseball here in northern Kentucky. 83 is where we're going to start tonight's game, but we can get down into the mid to low 70s by the end of this one. We immediately take your attention to the mound, introduce you to tonight's starter for the Florence Yalls. Yoniker Villalobos gets another start for this Yalls team. He has a 6-7 record this year, but do not let that cloud what you think of him. He is an exceptional pitcher. He's proven it on numerous occasions just against this Otters team, and he'll try to prove it once again tonight. He comes in with an ERA of 4.25, and in his starts this year, Villalobos has given up 45 earned runs on 108 hits in 95 innings. Also has 80 strikeouts in that time, just under 40 walks in the opposite category. He'll look to keep those walk numbers low, those strikeouts high, and that's how you carve through this Otters lineup. With that being mentioned, let's walk through the Otters lineup tonight. Leading off is the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game. That'll be Elijah McNamee, who is tonight's right fielder. He's backed up by J.R. Davis, the third baseman, and Dakota Phillips, the designated hitter, batting third. In the cleanup spot is the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez. Batting fifth, the first baseman, Zach Biermann. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Miles Gordon. Batting seventh, the second baseman, Andy Armstrong. Batting eighth is the catcher, Justin Felix. And batting ninth is the shortstop, George Khalil. As per usual, Billy Easley mans the first base coaching box. Andy McCauley manning the one on the left side of the infield. First pitch comes home. Driven out towards right at 7:05. Working that way is the right fielder, Johnson. Is he going to run out of room? He does just run out of room as the ball gets out of play. So McNamee falls back 0-1 right here at first pitch. First time in some time we've seen Elijah McNamee attack the first pitch. Usually more than happy to watch 1, 2, 3 pitches go by before he starts attacking. 0-1 offering to McNamee. High and outside. Count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Villalobos keeping things there in the low 90s. One sent foul to the right side, off towards the parking lot. For the second straight series, we saw Elijah McNamee have some success there on the road at Washington. He was really good a week and a half ago at Washington. Still was strong. Grabbed a couple of hits in each game of that series earlier this week. 1-2 offering to McNamee. Grounded towards the shortstop. Into the glove of Chavez, over to first in time for out number 1. So good work from McNamee to at least keep his at-bat alive as long as he did, but it ends up with a ground out to Chavez over there on the left side of the infield. That'll bring up the 2-hole hitter, third baseman J.R. Davis. He gets accelerated up into this 2-hole tonight. First pitch home, taken for a called strike 1. J.R. Davis is the top RBI man on this squad. Has been exceptional in these last few games. Oh, 1 home. Grounded to the left side. Chavez plays it into the glove. Leaping, throwing to first in time. Great work from Chavez on that at bat, and grabs another out over there on the left side. Do want to walk you through the defensive alignment for the Yalls tonight. Left to right across the outfield, Zuber in left, Almonte in center, Johnson mans right field. Across the infield, it's Bryant Fletche at third, Alberti Chavez at short, Stern at second, Brendan Price at first, and it will be Luke Harper manning things behind the plate. First pitch home to Dakota Phillips, in for a called strike 1. Somebody tell your Alexa device to start playing Grove Street Party. 0-1 on the way, swinging strike 2, and Phillips is going to have to avoid being a quick out number 3. Was really good last week to get Phillips back into the lineup, get the energy that he brings back there to Bosse Field. 0-2 home. Called strike 3. And as quickly as it's begun, the first half of the first inning is up. Otters go down, 3 up, 3 down, and we are on our way to the bottom half of the first. Still scoreless from Thomas More Stadium. To the bottom half of the first inning we go here on the Otters Digital Network. Evansville put down in order there in the top half of the first. And now the ball will end up in the hand of Austin Gossman, tonight's starter for Evansville. He enters this series a 7-6 record, 3.97 ERA. Gossman's really searching for a start that kind of brings him back to life. He's had a really rough couple of weeks. Found a little bit more success against Florence last week, giving up 1 earned run on 5 hits in 6 innings. But in the 3 games prior to that, really had struggled through those. First pitch inside for ball 1 on Craig Massey, the leadoff man for the Florence Yalls. Those 3 starts between the 2 Windy City games and the Washington game for Gossman, 17 of his 44 earned runs this year, which is 44%, all came in just those 3 games. Evens the count up with a called strike on Massey, and we're even at 1-1. One the offering for Craig Massey. It's sent out towards right field. Long run for McNamee, and he's able to bring it in for out number 1. So a good rundown for out number 1 there from Elijah McNamee. We're on to the 2-hole where the shortstop Alberti Chavez makes his way to the plate. Another one of these exceptional shortstops in this league. And he's one of the few shortstops that also backs it up with really good hitting. 311 average on the year, 49 RBIs. He's been a consistent man in this lineup for Florence. First offering to the shortstop Chavez. Works high, nearly grabs the helmet. Chavez got underneath that pitch, stayed high and in on him. It's ball 1. So a couple extra seconds taken from Gossman, trying to reset after the 1-0 high and inside pitch. Next offering comes home. It's grounded off to the left side, and with it the count evens up 1-1. So the count's evened. 1 ball, 1 strike for Alberti Chavez. 1 out, base is empty. Gossman kicks and delivers. It's grounded towards Davis at third. He plays it into the glove, but they say it was fouled off the foot. So the count will fall to 1-2. Good a time as any to walk you through the defensive alignment for the Otters tonight. Jeffrey Baez, Miles Gordon, Elijah McNamee, left to right across the outfield. J.R. Davis manning third, George Khalil at short, Andy Armstrong at second, Zach Biermann at first. That all-star infield, tough to get balls through. And Justin Felix will man things behind the dish for the Otters. Counts at 1-2 for Alberti Chavez. One out, nobody on here in the bottom half of the first inning. Gossman trying to keep this game even after one full. A 1-2 pitch towards Chavez. Swinging strike three, a little bit of a late and lazy swing from Chavez. Looked like he decided too late, realized he was behind. Regardless, it'll go down as a German American Bank strikeout for Austin Gossman. So that'll bring up the big bat of Brennan Price. Price homered in the first inning in 2 of the 3 games against Evansville at Evansville last week. And in the one game that he didn't homer in the first inning, he helped keep a big first inning together where they all scored 2 anyway. First pitch home to him. Stays inside for ball 1. Price has 5 home runs in his last 10 games. One ball, no strikes. As the pitch comes home to Price. Stays a little too far inside. The count goes to 2-0. Gossman taking his time prior to the 2-0 pitch. Stays outside now, ball 3. And, you know, all things considered, a walk to Brennan Price, not the worst thing in the world after what he did about a week and a half ago back at Bosse Field. Gossman can be more than happy to give him the free base if he's able to keep the run off the scoreboard. 3-0 home to Price. Zoom down the left field line, but it's going to keep hooking foul. And it's off the fence out there, and the kids go running. Bottom of the first inning, still no score here from Thomas More Stadium. Evansville trying to take some stress away with a win that could potentially put them in the playoffs. 3 balls, 1 strike for Brennan Price with 2 outs, bases empty, bottom of the first. The 3-1 comes home. In there for a called strike 2. Price thought he had got himself a free base. Y'alls are in their powder blue jerseys, powder blue tops, powder blue bottoms with the white numbers on the front and back, and Y'alls in that script logo font on the front in red. The Otters are riding with their primary blue tops, gray bottoms. They've got the gray hats with the blue hats with the gray bills. 3-2, it's sent out towards center. Gordon chasing back at the warning track. Gone! And for the 3rd time in 4 games, Brennan Price goes yard on his first at-bat against the Otters. My goodness, Brennan Price is something special. Waited and waited and waited for his pitch in that at-bat. Finally got it, and he sent it to the deepest part of this ballpark, and it's 1-0 Florence here in the first inning. And then, unfortunately for Otters fans, they saw plenty of that a week and a half ago. Brennan picking up where he left off. So that'll bring up the cleanup man, Ray Zuber, with the bases empty and 2 outs. Now a 1-0 game in favor of the Y'alls. Gossman fires home. Outside ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes for Ray Zuber. Otters just hoping they can grab this final out and get themselves out of it. Pitch comes home. It's grounded foul to the left side, out of play. And the count evens up, 1 ball, 1 strike. Want to start walking you through the Frontier League tonight. A lot going on, a lot on the line for a lot of different teams. And right away, first inning, the Empire State Grays lead at Tri-City 2-0. Tri-City needs wins against the Grays this week. All the Grays can do is play a little bit of heartbreaker, and they're trying to do that now. First inning, 2-0 Grays. 1-1 the count for Zuber. Gossman fires home. Cracked bat sent towards Armstrong at second, into the glove over to first. In time for out number 3. There goes some more wood for the fire. Get your new lumber at Niehaus Lumber. We're on to the second inning, and once again, a Brendan Price solo home run has given Florence a lead. It's 1-0, Y'alls after 1. It's now 7 straight games that the Otters have given up a first inning run, and because of this one, they trail 1-0. Coming into this second inning, Evansville will send their 4, 5, 6 hitters to the dish. Jeffrey Baez, Zach Biermann, and Miles Gordon. Now down by a run. And was there ever any doubt? Another home run for Brendan Price. First pitch, Jeffrey Baez sees, goes right back up the middle, through for a base hit. And the Otters have themselves a man on base. Good to see that there's some Otter faithful here that made the trip from Evansville. I see about a row and a half down there of Otters fans right behind the Otters dugout. Still time for you to come join us here in Florence this weekend. The Otters would love to see some Evansville fans here in the next couple of nights. First pitch home to Zach Biermann. Stays low and inside for ball 1. Biermann, for a long time in this league, was one of the best home run hitters. I mean, he had paced the entire league out right about the end of June, early July area. But since that series at Gateway where Evansville exploded for home runs there at the beginning of July, it's been a struggle with the long ball, as Zach Biermann only has 3 home runs since then. Because of that, he's completely fallen off the leaderboard for home runs in this league. It would take one of the best series we've seen of Zach Biermann all year, but he is still in contention to set a new Otters record for home runs in a season, but he would have to really hit the cover off the ball in these 3 games. He fouls the ball back into the netting, and with it, our count evens at 1-1. Biermann's currently 6 home runs off of the Otters' single-season record. While he might not break that, he will forever be on that top 5 in the Otters' history, as 17 puts him at 4th best in a single season. 1-1 works high and in, misses for ball 2. Extreme shift on, by the way, for Zach Biermann, as the shortstop Alberti Chavez is playing on the right side of second base, and where Chavez would usually play short is where Fletche is playing. They're going to go check on Baez. Baez has been a stolen base threat this year, second most on the Otters. He also passed the 250 stolen base mark in his career. The 2-1 misses just under the elbows for ball 3. Really quite the crowd here tonight on a Friday night in Florence. Great to see so many people supporting the Frontier League here on the final weekend. 3-1 home. Grounded weakly to the right side, foul, and we'll have a full count. So things get a little more important now for Biermann. Full count, man on first. Nobody out here in the top of the second inning. Villalobos fires home on the payoff pitch to Biermann. Swinging, strike 3. There goes the man out towards second. The throw's going to be late. He got off the base at the very end and was taking an extra second to get up. Not sure if that was taking a second to catch his breath or if something's not feeling right. McCauley runs out, and now Mandy Flake's making the run out. While she runs out, we do want to again remind you, Mandy Flake named the Frontier League Trainer of the Year. High praise for her. The team all agreed she certainly deserved it. So congratulations to her as she goes out there now to help out Baez, who was grabbing at his right ankle. It is going to be a strikeout for Biermann and then a stolen base for Baez. We just wait. Good to see that Baez pops up and takes a quick jog back and forth. And now he's nodding towards both his manager, Andy McCauley, and trainer, Mandy Flake, and sends them both in their respective directions. We're all good to go now. Baez sharing a couple of words with the shortstop, Alberti Chavez. Looks like smiles all around for those two. So that'll bring up Miles Gordon, the center fielder for Evansville. Has been hitting in the leadoff spot for a few games. Now back down to this 6-hole where he spent quite a few times this season. Shows bunts, pulls away, and it's ball 1. Gordon trying to help Evansville potentially even this game up here in the second inning. Certainly not out of this game at this point. Got to keep taking things one at bat at a time. One run is not too much. It's when Evansville gets down by 3 or 4 that you have to start to worry. (2-0) the count for Miles Gordon. Man at second, 1 out. The pitch comes home, low and outside for another ball. And Miles Gordon now up 3-0 in the count. So the 3-0 comes home for a called strike 1, almost right down the middle. (3-1) count for Miles Gordon. with 1 out and a man at second. Long wait for Villalobos, getting things set up on the bump, ready to go on the 3-1 pitch to Gordon. That's taken for a called strike. So the pressure now on Gordon as we've got another full count here in the half inning. A 3-2 to the plate. Swinging strike 3, and it's back-to-back strikeouts for Villalobos. So the pressure will now be on the second baseman, Andy Armstrong, to try to bring a man home from second with 2 outs. So with 2 outs and a man at second, Armstrong making his way to the plate. His first pitch from Villalobos. Low and inside, ball 1. Get another look through things as we kick off today's action in the Frontier League. Windy City gets an early lead at Washington, 1-0, but the Wild Things say not so fast. Grab 2 of their own in the bottom half of the first. It's 2-1 Wild Things after 1. Called strike evens the count up now for Armstrong, 1-1. Elsewhere around the league, a lot of scoreless games so far. Second inning between New York and Trois-Rivières, they're scoreless. Second inning between New Jersey and Sussex County. Battle of the Garden State ending this regular season. They're still scoreless. And they're just about to kick off between Schaumburg and Joliet and Lake Erie and Gateway. Foul ball back into the netting. Good for strike 2, and Armstrong behind. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Baez with a narrow lead out there at second. The 1-2 home, sent to the right side, through for a base hit. They're waving Baez around. The throw home looks good. The play at the plate, and plenty of time. Out number 3 comes at the plate. The Otters will not tie this game. Beautiful throw from right field. We're on our way to the bottom half of the second. Evansville still trails by 1. Bottom of the second inning, Evansville has a chance to tie this game in the away half, but due to a great throw from the right fielder, Axel Johnson, Baez gunned down at the plates, and because of it, the Otters unable to score on the play. They were ready to throw the first pitch of the inning, but the Otters didn't have all 9 men out there yet. Baez was still finishing up. Baez tried to come around to score on Andy Armstrong's single, but because of I don't want to call it a late break from second, he got a pretty good jump when the ball was hit, but it was just a really good throw from Johnson and Wright, and Baez stood no chance at the plate. So the Alls will stay ahead in this one, 1-0. Swinging strike one kicks off the half inning for Bryant Fletche, the third baseman. 0-1 the count for Fletche. A lot of movement in his at-bat. And he swings and misses for strike two. Here in the bottom half of the second inning, kicking off the inning is Bryant Fletche, and he's down 0-2 in a count with a couple of swinging strikes. Outside for ball one. And Gossman's going to have to try again to end this first at-bat. One ball, two strikes for Bryant Fletche. Gossman fires home. Hit sharply towards Armstrong at second, into the glove, over to first, in time for out number one of the inning. Ends up being a pretty simple play for Armstrong. Due to this being a turf field, don't have the weird lip there on the front and back of the quote-unquote dirt, as it's all turf here. It's just different colored turf, depending on if you're in the infield or on the grass parts or the grass-colored parts. Like I mentioned, it's all turf, though. So Armstrong really didn't have to deal with any lip hurting him on that ground ball. First pitch home to Ethan Stearns, in there for a called strike one. Stern has been an impressive rookie for this Florence team this year, batting .274 on the year. Oh, 1 for Gossman. Finds the zone on the outside edge for a called strike two. And you see, that's what Gossman is going to have to do in this game, I think, to make it far. He's going to have to attack the zone and challenge these Florence hitters, maybe trust his defense a little bit. 0-2's low and outside, a good offering that Stern doesn't even think about going after. Gossman taking his time prior to the 1-2 home. A pitch home. Bounces into the mask, goes flying off to the right side. It evens our count at 2-2. Gossman needs just 5 strikeouts to even his total from his rookie year last year. 6 to set a new career high for strikeouts in a single season. Two home. Foul tipped back towards Felix, and staying alive will be Stern. Gossman is closing in on a pretty big milestone when it comes to his strikeout numbers. 2-2 home. Outside. That's ball 3. It's 197 in the career for Gossman. So he just need 3 in order to grab his 200th of his career. Ball sent out towards center. It's going to drop for a base hit. A little blooping single out there. Gordon will end up making the grab after it had bounced a couple of times. And it's a 1 out single for Ethan Stern. So with 1 man on and 1 man out, Luke Harper heads to the plate. Harper, a hard-hitting lefty. First offering home, taken for a called strike 1. Small lead over there at first. Now it's strengthened for Stern. 0-1 home. Sent grounding to the right side. So with it, our count drops to 0-2. Gossman really taking his time up there on the bump. The 0-2 home from Austin Gossman. Sent grounding towards the left side. It's going to roll and stays foul. Felix does good work to get to it and grab it the second it goes foul, so that it doesn't work its way back into fair territory. Man at first, 1 out. 0-2 count for Luke Harper. Gossman ready for the 0-2. It's outside for ball 1. One ball, 2 strikes now for Austin Gossman. Ball sent out towards left. Davis working over towards it, makes a catch in foul territory. Third baseman Davis grabs it for out number 2. And that will now bring Axel Johnson to the plate with 2 outs and a man at first. Axel Johnson batting .242 on the season. Johnson, our right fielder tonight, made a great play earlier in the game with a throw down to get Baez sneaking home. Pitch comes home, missing for ball 1. Been a long career for Axel Johnson. Played in the independent leagues ever since 2016. Had a lot of success. 1-0 is lifted very high, right behind home. Felix working that way. And he brings it in for out number 3. A 1-out single for Stern will not come back to hurt Evansville after 2 full innings. It is Florence 1, Evansville 0 here on your home for the Evansville Otters, the Otters Digital Network. Top of the third inning. Y'all still on top of this one. 1-0 after a Brendan Price home run in the first. Evansville heads to the plate with Felix, Khalil, and McNamee due up here in the third inning. Otters have just managed one man on to start. That was Baez, and then Armstrong grabbed the base hit as well, but was taken off as soon as he got on due to a caught advancing from Baez down there at home plate. Beautiful throw from Johnson and Wright. Gunned him down and disallowed the run. 0-1 to Felix. Stays inside, and with our count evens up, 1 ball, 1 strike. One one to the plate. Catches the zone for a called strike on the high outside corner. And Felix drops back in the count 1-2. A little bit of a wait for Villalobos. Fires home on the 1-2. And Felix thought about going around. Stayed high for ball 2, though. Gorgeous night for baseball. We've dropped into the upper 70s now. And we're supposed to stay here in the mid to low 70s the rest of tonight's game. Two-two to the catcher, Felix. Hit sharply to the left side. It's going to be through for a base hit. Out into left. Chavez tried to make a run towards it, but realized he was just not going to have enough room. And the Otters have a leadoff single for the second straight inning. So that now brings up George Khalil. George Khalil, batting for the first time tonight. He's in the 9-hole. He's showing bunts, and after it's sent right back down into the turf, came rolling backwards, so it was just a foul ball for the first bunt attempt there from George Khalil. So 0-1 the count for Khalil. Man at first, nobody out. Khalil slams one out into left, and it's down for a base hit. Otters have used back-to-back singles here to start the third inning. Khalil tried to lay down the bunt. Did not do so successfully, so he decided to swing the bat and made a good contact hit out to left. So back to the top of the order we go. The Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Elijah McNamee. He grounded towards Chavez in the first inning for the first out of tonight's game. First pitch home to McNamee, in for a called strike 1. Oh, 1. This one sends off the pop-up out towards left. Chavez is able to bring it up in shallow left field for out number 1 on the pop-out. McNamee just got a little too underneath that one. It was low and inside. With it, he kind of golfed it out, and because of that, it didn't get good forward contact. It was instead much higher contact. So that brings up the third baseman, J.R. Davis. 2 men on, 1 man out here in the top of the third. First pitch home is sent fouled off to the left side by J.R. Davis. So Davis will take a second to reset, step out, and step back in. Men at first and second. 1 out, top of the third inning. Otters trying to find their way back into a game where they're down by 1. Hefty swinging strike from Davis on a fastball high and outside. Drops him back 0-2. Davis really taking his time at the plate now. Prior to an 0-2 pitch with 2 men on, 1 man out. Davis will call time and reset. Davis really taking his time. It's Felix at second, Khalil at first. They both reached on singles to start off the inning. Then McNamee popped out to left. Oh, 2 home. Fouled off to the right side. It's going to work itself past the upper concourse area. So everyone takes a second to reset. The 0-2 home. Sent out towards left center. It's down for a base hit. Rolling towards the wall. Felix coming home to score. Khalil now rounding second. He's going to come home. There will be no relay. 2 men score on the 2-run double from J.R. Davis. And the Otters take the lead here at Florence. Never a doubt when J.R. Davis is at the plate. There's a reason he leads the team in RBIs, and he proves it again here. Not only did he put that one into left center field, but it rolled and rolled and rolled. Finally, when the outfielders were able to pick it up, Khalil was almost home already by that point. And it's a 2-run double for J.R. Davis to give the Otters a lead. And the thing that's been haunting Evansville in these last few weeks is getting men on, not being able to bring them home. So it's good to see them be able to do that right away as well. First pitch is sent grounding right back up the middle by Dakota Phillips. The throw over to first is in time for out number 2. 1-3 on the fielder's choice there. Davis stays put at second. So that will next bring Jeffrey Bias to the plate. And actually, it's looking like Phillips might be safe over there. I don't know if the ball came out or if Price took his foot off first base, but Phillips is safe at first. So there's actually men at first and second. Unsure as to how Dakota Phillips is safe at first, but he is. So there's only going to be 1 out, and Phillips has himself an opportunity now. Baez lifts one up towards center. Chasing in a few steps is Almonte. He brings it in for an out, and everyone will stay put. Unsure as to why Dakota Phillips was left safe at first. And I think now the Y'alls are realizing that Dakota Phillips was called safe for some reason. And now everyone's trying to figure out why exactly Phillips was called safe. And I think that's what Bryant Fletche is trying to figure out over there at third. Dakota Phillips got called safe. How, I'm not sure. After running down to first, he turned and came back to first base, took off the ankle guard and handed it to his coach. Him and Price were smiling about something, but unsure as to what it was. So that set this all up. Baez with a fly out now, and there's still a chance for the Otters with 2 outs and 2 on. "1-0 home. Low and outside. It's going to get away from the catcher, Harper, and both men will advance 90 feet. We will try to figure out exactly how that's going to be scored as well, because we're not sure as to if it was an infield single, if there's an error that led to Phillips getting himself on first. As of right now, it's not down as either. 2-0 the count for Zach Biermann. Pitch comes home and is good for a called strike one, taking the count to 2-1. So some confusion here in the top of the third. At least right now, Evansville's taken a 2-1 lead, but they could add to it potentially now on Biermann's opportunity with 2 outs. 2-1 pitch home. Stays outside for ball 3. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Beautiful crowd here tonight. Every time I look down, it looks like there's more people, especially on the left side of the seating area down there. Great crowd here for the Owls tonight on a Friday night. 3-1 to Biermann. Swinging strike 2 was just ahead of that ball coming home, and he'll have to do it with a full count. Time called for a second as J.R. Davis has a huge lead at third, and because of it, the catcher Harper steps up and tries to walk him back a little bit. So Biermann's looking at a full count. They're not trying to keep the man close at third as they've got the shift on for Biermann. So Davis can really take a huge lead over there. 3-2 home to Biermann. Stays low and the bases are loaded with a walk. So that'll bring up Miles Gordon now. And there will be a discussion at the mound now, as making his way out there is Eric Minshaw, the pitching coach. So the Otters almost scored there in the second inning, but a great play from Axel Johnson in right field was good enough to grab the out at home. They did not score. We came to this third inning. Evansville led it off with a couple of singles from Felix and Khalil. Then after a pop-out, J.R. Davis brought them both home with a 2-run double. Then Phillips on a ground out back up the middle was called safe at first, which is what we're trying to figure out exactly as to how. Set up a Baez fly out and then a Biermann walk, which has now loaded the bases with 2 outs. So Miles Gordon at the plate. First pitch is sent out towards center, a little blooping hit, and it's down for a base hit. One man's going to score. They're going to try to throw the third to get Biermann. The throw's close. It gets away. 2 men have scored. And it will be a 2 RBI single for Gordon. He advances on the throw. And the Otters have added 2 more to their lead. Biermann kept his eyes up, wanted to try to get an extra base out there, was able to. And that's what helped the second man get home. So it's now 4-1 Otters here in the top of the third inning. And Andy Armstrong heads to the plate, the 9th different Otter to head to the plate in this half inning. First pitch to the plate, in there for a called strike 1. So it's Gordon at second, Biermann at third. Still 2 outs in the third inning. Otters have scored 4 in this frame. 0-1 home to Armstrong. He sends one out towards left center. Almonte chasing in towards it, but it is Zuber who brings it in for out number 3. Inning comes to a close, but not before Evansville scores 4 runs. They take the lead here in Florence. As we head to the bottom half of the third, Evansville has a change in the outfield. Jeffrey Baez no longer in this game. Brian Rosario is going to sub in and take over in left field. I'm not sure if that has to do with that contact that was made from Baez out there at second base in the second, where he came up not agreeing with the ankle. Something was bothering him. At least right now, it looks like that has taken him from the game. I see him down there working with Mandy Flagg, and might just be a being careful occurrence. First pitch home's a called strike on Wady Almonte. Otters scored 4 there in the third. Officially, it's going to be an error on Villalobos that allowed Dakota Phillips to reach. And we'll see if anything changes maybe post-game on that one. 0-1 misses down for ball 1, and we're evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike now. So Austin Gossman getting set for the 1-1 pitch home to Wady Almonte. It stays low and outside for ball 2 now. Incredibly strange play there. But the bright side for Evansville is they have taken the lead because of it. 2-1 home. Sent right back up the middle, in and out of the glove of Gossman. He runs over, picks it up, throws to first, and they're able to get this out anyway. At least it looks like an out. Yes, it is. Almonte making his way back to the dugout. This one is a 1-3 putout. So that'll now bring up Craig Massey, the leadoff man. He flew out to start our game. First pitch home to Craig Massey of this at-bat with 1 out, nobody on. Taken for a called strike 1, almost right down the middle. Long wait for Gossman. Now the 0-1 home, outside, and our count evens up. A little bit of a deeper positioning for Armstrong at second. Other than that, the Otters keeping the defense pretty standard for Massey. 1-1 is pushed foul to the left side. Will end up near the playground area here. Waiting here for the next pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Almonte. Gossman fires home. It's sent sharply to the right side, into the glove of Armstrong. He goes to first in time for out number 2. So now the Y'all's down to their last out here in the third inning. Some quick work being made by Evansville. Alberti Chavez, who struck out his first time up, comes to the plate now, looking to keep this third inning alive for the Y'alls. Do want to give you an update from the games that I know you're worried about tonight. Lake Erie up 1-0 at Gateway. Swinging strike 1 will drop Chavez down 0-1 in the count. Also, Schaumburg up 2-0 at Joliet. So the two things Evansville did not want to happen are going down right now. Schaumburg winning and Lake Erie winning. They'd prefer losses from both squads. 0-1 home. Sent grounding foul to the right side. And it's quickly a 0-2 count for Chavez. Gossman getting set prior to the 0-2. The 0-2 to the plate. Outside, ball one. Kind of expected to go with the far outside pitch. Things heating up right now in the East Division. Ottawa and Quebec, by the way, playing in the final 3 games against each other. Ottawa needs to keep winning to keep themselves in contention. Also, Sussex County down 6-0 at home against New Jersey. That's a must-win game for the Miners. 1-2 to the plate, stays outside yet again, and with it our count evens up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Empire State's expanded their lead out to 4-0 at Tri-City. That's another team that really needed a win tonight in Tri-City. Two balls, 2 strikes to Chavez. Ball comes home, bouncing in for ball 3. So Chavez doing well to keep himself alive in the at-bat. If he can get himself on, Brennan Price stands in wait in the on-deck area. Gossman ready for the 3-2. Stays inside, ball 4, and that will bring Brennan Price to the plate with a man on base after the 2-out walk. Brennan Price heading to the plate now with a man at first and 2 outs. Price, the one that's guilty for the singular run so far on the board for Florence. He crushed a home run out to center. First pitch he sees here is inside for ball 1. With that home run from Price, it's the 3rd time in the last 4 games between these two squads that he's done that. (1-0) home. This one sent out towards center. Gordon working in towards it and brings it in for out number 3. We're on our way to the 4th inning. Evansville leads by 3. Top of the 4th inning here from Thomas More Stadium in Florence, Kentucky. The Otters have themselves a 4-1 lead after exploding for some offense there in the top of the 3rd. And because of that, things are a little bit more relaxed the man who started off that big third inning, Justin Felix, set to kick off this half inning as well. Felix had himself a single back in that third. First pitch here is fouled back into the netting. 4-strike 1 from Felix. The Otters can keep hold of this lead and keep working themselves towards the end of this game ahead, and they'd be hoping for a gateway win, aka a Lake Erie loss. They would be able to have their ticket punched tonight. Ball comes in for a called strike. And with it, Justin Felix takes an 0-2 count now, trailing a couple, trying to avoid strikeout here. Takes a pitch outside for ball 1, easy one for him to lay off. Yeah, so still unsure exactly as to why things were played the way they were in the top third. I went back and watched it in the half-inning break. Still hard to tell. Ball driven out towards deep right. Johnson gets underneath it and is able to bring it in for out number 1. To me, it looked like when I went back and watched through things another time, the only reasonable explanation based on that video is that I'm thinking Brennan Price stepped off just a little bit or didn't have his foot secured on first base when he went over and had himself placed, because it was originally called out and then all of a sudden they pointed down at the base, and at that point Phillips was then called safe. So first pitch home to George Khalil, taken for ball 1 high. Khalil had the single back in the third that followed Felix's. Tried to bunt, failed the bunt, and decided to swing anyway. Now he puts one down the right field line, and it's a second base hit for George Khalil. He's rounding first, making his way towards second. The throw there won't be in time, and the Australian has himself a stand-up double, his second hit of the ballgame. George Khalil just puts it down the right field line and grabs an extra base for it as well. Good for him. A lot on the line for the Otters tonight as they are trying to punch their ticket to the 2022 Frontier League postseason. They need a win tonight, and they lost from Lake Erie. Otherwise, we'll have to wait another day. First pitch home to McNamee. Stays low for ball 1. Now with the man in scoring position and 1 out. McNamee's last time up after the 2 singles in the third popped out to shallow left. One 0 to the plate. It's a swinging strike. We'll even our count up. 1 ball, 1 strike now. Another check-in with things in Sojay. The Grizzlies score a first inning run as well, and we're even at 1 run apiece there after 1 inning at Gateway. Also, Schaumburg has taken a 2-0 lead at Joliet. They're in the bottom of the second as we speak. Ball up high. Good for ball 2 on McNamee. Two-one. Sit grounding to the left side. Fletche chases in for it. His throw to first is in time for the out. And good heads-up base running there for Khalil to then take third base after the throw was made. And he gets a fist bump from his coach, Andy McCauley, his third base coach over there. And that's just, McCauley saying, hey, that's good heads-up base running. And it makes McNamee's at-bat a little more useful. So 5-3 the fielder's choice. Khalil now at third with 2 outs, and J.R. Davis heading to the plate. He's already driven in 2 today. First pitch home to Davis. Thought about going through, and he knew it was a strike close enough, and he ends up going around for a swinging strike one. Perfect night for baseball here in Florence. Otters playing their final Friday night regular season game of the season. 0-1, that one's good for a called strike, and as he usually does when he knows he's missed an easy called strike, Davis slowly follows through with his bat. But it's officially a called strike too, not a swinging. 0-2 home. Pushed off foul to the right side, going to end up in the parking lot. And someone might have a souvenir under their car when they head back out after the ball game. So over there in the on-deck circle is Dakota Phillips, hoping he might have a shot as well. But first, Davis takes ball one, and his count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. One ball, 2 strikes for Davis. High outside, and with it the count evens up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here in the top of the fourth, Evansville trying to add one more run to this lead. Everything's insurance from here on out. Got to make sure you keep yourself in a position to win this game. 2-2. Stays high for ball 3, and Davis will turn an 0-2 count into a full 3-2 count. So good work from him. Three balls, 2 strikes to J.R. Davis with 2 outs and a man at third. Pushed out towards right. It's coming in, and it falls into the glove of Axel Johnson for out number 3. That catch saves a run, and we are on our way to the bottom half of the fourth. Evansville still leading by 3. Home half of the fourth inning, and as we head to this fourth inning, we have one of my favorite promotions in the entire Frontier League. The Yells put a fan out there in right field past Elijah McNamee out there beyond the right field fence with a hit it here sign. And if that fan catches a Florence home run while standing there, he wins himself a new Kia. The last time the Otters were here, the Yells actually hit a home run right out there, and it went maybe 5 feet away from the guy out there. Just creative. I like to see some of the different promotions. It's a unique one they have here in Florence. Ray Zuber's due up to start off the home half of the fourth, and he watches a called strike one go by from Austin Gossman, who's done a really good job to settle in and not let that solo home run from Price get to his head. You know, that was the big deal here, is make sure that if you give up something big to Brennan Price, You erase it from the memory right away and work forward, and he's done a great job of that. 0-1 is in for a called strike 2. Good work from Gossman right away to get himself a lead in the count, double it up to 0-2. To the count as Gossman fires home. Stays low for ball 1, and the count's at 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's a close pitch. Washington has added to their lead there in Pennsylvania. They're up 5-2 against Windy City. They're in the bottom of the 4th inning right now. Gateway has grabbed themselves an extra little bits of lead. They're up 2-1 now against Lake Erie. That's what the Otters need. They need to win here at Florence, and they need Gateway to grab a win there in Sojay. 1-2 home, misses outside. Another really close offering for Gossman, trying to get a man to chase. Two balls, 2 strikes for the left fielder, Zuber. Here kicking off this bottom half of the 4th inning. Gossman fires home. It's grounded right back up the middle. Long run for Armstrong. It's into the glove. Throw to first. Just going to be a little bit late over there. It's an infield single on a ball that took just a little too much time to get back down to Armstrong. And it's a leadoff single for Zuberer, bringing Bryant Fletche to the plate. What a time of the year it is right now. Otters trying to clinch their postseason ticket. College football starting this weekend. Of course, tonight, Friday Night Lights across South Indiana. Lots of high school football kicking off as well. We're starting to see a lot of recruiting news for some of the local basketball teams, both the University of Evansville and the University of Southern Indiana. Of course, the fall sports at those schools also picking up. What a time in Evansville right now. Lots going on. And if you're taking the time on a Friday night to listen into the Otters game, from all of us here at the Evansville Otters, we say a huge thank you to making us part of your weekend. We're hoping the Evansville can grab you a win tonight. 0-1 the count for Bryant Fletche. Gossman fires home. It's swinging strike, and the bat gets all the way down the right field line. The bat did drop in fair territory, but that ball zoomed past Fletche, and it was across for a swinging strike, too. It was crazy to see that bat fly perfectly down the right field line. I mean, it hung onto that line the whole way down. Probably landed, I'd say probably 10, 12 feet past first base down there. And thankfully, nobody hit by it. A lot of these y'all's players have these powder blue bats as well. So you just saw the powder blue of Fletche's bat going flying as well. Let's try it on the 0-2 now. Gossman kicks and delivers. It's launched out towards right field. It's not deep enough. Is it going to be caught by McNamee? No, it's not. It ends up in foul territory. It wasn't deep enough to leave the park. It was just going to be a question on whether McNamee had enough room out there. He did not. But credit to Fletche. He got good contact on that right away. Buzzed that ball out to right. But foul. Again, Otters' magic number is 2. A win tonight, Lake Erie loss, clinches them a postseason ticket. Lake Erie currently trails. Evansville currently leads. Ball sent foul to the left side now. Gets out of play again, and Fletche doing a good job to keep himself alive in the count. Of course, you're also probably wondering, if Evansville clinches their postseason ticket, when can I watch them? Where are they going to play? As of right now, Evansville is slated to be in the third place spot, which would have them traveling to Schaumburg on Tuesday night of next week, or I guess of this coming week. They'd travel to Schaumburg for a one-game wild card game, with the winner getting a date in the championship series with Washington. Inside pitch, called strike 3 from Austin Gossman, and he sits down Bryant Fletche with a strikeout there. So with one man on and one man out, the second baseman Ethan Stern now heads to the plate. Stern had himself a single back in the second inning, but was stranded. Throw over to first is going to be a little bit late. Gossman trying to keep the man Ray Zuber close. First pitch in there for a swinging strike on Ethan Stern. He was a bit fooled on that pitch. It's not going to end up hitting us, but there is some heavier storms to the east of us. Doesn't look like it has any shot of grabbing us as well. So that strikeout's kind of paused what I was saying. I'll wait till after this 0-1 pitch to give you the next bit. It's outside ball one. The throw out to second looks good. Did they get him? Yes, they did. Justin Felix throws out Ray Zuber on his way to second. A caught stealing. Great throw from Felix for out number 2 there. So that takes away the base runner and puts all the pressure on Stern, who's looking at a 1-1 count. So like I mentioned, Evansville would be at Schaumburg on Tuesday night. The winner of that one-game wild card game would then get to host Washington a week from tonight on Friday of next week. You'd host Washington in game 1, and then you'd travel to the Wild Things for Sunday and Monday if needed for the final 2 of that series. And then if you were to win that series, the Frontier League Championship Series starts a couple of days after that. Of course, that's still a long way in advance, but Evansville firmly has their eyes set on Tuesday. There is a chance that the Otters could host that game Tuesday night, but it would need Schaumburg to struggle against Joliet this weekend as well. 2-1 sent sharply towards Armstrong. It goes just under his glove out there at second, and it'll be a 2-out single for Ethan Stern. Could have been men at first and third potentially had the stolen base not happened, or the stolen base attempt not happened. So Luke Harper now heading to the plate. Harper fouled out to the left side of the infield his first time up. Worked its way into foul territory. Davis was able to bring it in. First pitch home to Harper is sent grounding towards Armstrong at second. He makes the grab, the throw to first. This one is accurate and in time, and that will end the half inning. Evansville able to work around a couple of singles, and after 4 complete, it's Otters 4, Yulls 1 here on your home for Evansville Baseball, the Otters Digital Network. Top of the fifth inning here on the Otters Digital Network. Evansville holding on to a 4-1 lead. And, I mean, this is what the Otters wanted to see happen. Give themselves a lead, give Austin Gossman a little bit of breathing room, and then help him out throughout it. That's what they've done so far. Currently 4-1 Otters. Due up here in the top of the fifth inning, Dakota Phillips alongside Brian Rosario and Miles Gordon. Oh, 1 home, swinging strike. Will drop back Phillips to an 0-2. Phillips in his prior opportunity reached on an error. Oh, 2 home, swinging strike. Will get in the dirt. They'll throw down to first. That's in time. And it looks like it is an out. So Phillips guilty of a 2-3 putout. There to kick off this fifth inning. So Brian Rosario now heading to the plate. This is Rosario's first time batting, as he was brought in as a defensive substitution in the bottom of the third inning. His first option is a called strike. Looked like Rosario was going to get the day off, but now the switch hitter is going to have to come in this middle portion and help the Otters out. With Villalobos being a lefty, of course, Rosario is going to start as a righty for now. It's possible we see him shift to the left side if we see a righty enter the game. Ball fouled to the right side, dribbling off towards the Otters bullpen. And the count's a 1-2. Here in Florence, the only place in the league, at least here in the West Division, that your bullpen is opposite of where your dugout is. The Otters have the first base dugout and the left field bullpen, so they have to cross across. Same with the Alls, of course. They're on the third base dugout, and then they have the right field bullpen. 1-2 to the plate, sent down the right field line. It's working its way foul, and it actually hits the wall, which is maybe 3 inches to the foul side of the line. Very close for Rosario, trying to grab extra bases. So Rosario back in the count 1-2 with 1 out, nobody on. Ball gets in there and misses for ball 2. Two zoom down the left field line. It will be foul, and Rosario will keep himself alive. Two balls, 2 strikes for Brian Rosario. The pitch comes home. Called strike 3. Oh my, a very late called strike. Rosario thought he had gotten himself an extra ball, was getting himself set for the next pitch, and then the called strike happened. And all he could do was turn and look back at the home plate umpire like, all right. So that sits down Rosario with a strikeout looking. Good for the 4th strikeout of the day for Villalobos. First pitch from Biermann, sent out towards right. Johnson with a long run, makes a catch as he runs in towards the wall. Great contact from Biermann again this week, but it's not enough to leave the yard. Quick 3 outs for the Alls. We head to the bottom half of the 5th. Evansville leads by 3. As we head to the bottom of the fifth inning, do have to give you an update. Ian Bibaloni with a grand slam for the Grizzlies have given Gateway a 6-1 lead, and the Otters now have some breathing room in both games. They needed to go their way tonight. Now it's all about finishing out these final few innings. We are at the center point of the game, and Evansville, fell back early. It was the third time in the last 4 games against this Florence squad that Brendan Price has hit a home run in the first. This Otters squad did a good job to, move past that and keep working forward, and because of it, they grabbed themselves runs in a heap there in the third, and they lead 4-1. First pitch lasered down the right field line, but foul. And it bounces off the wall. Looks like the kid the ball made contact with is okay. Oh, man, that came in a hurry towards him. And he's up and running around again, so that's good to see. Got to keep your head on a swivel out there. Johnson lasered that ball to right field. So it's an 0-1 count. Gossman fires home to Johnson on the 0-1. Misses low, and with it, the count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike for Axel Johnson. Pitch comes home. Outside for ball 2. Gossman taking his time prior to the next pitch. A 2-1 home is swung on and missed for strike 2. A 2-2 home to Axel Johnson. On the way from Austin Gossman. Inside for ball 3. Three balls, 2 strikes for Axel Johnson. Gossman trying to pick up a inning opening strikeout here in the 5th. 3-2 home. Pushed foul to the left side, will bounce off the netting and down into the Y'all's dugout. One of the hardest things for a lot of professional athletes to have to do is right there at the end of a season where they know they're eliminated from the playoffs, as Florence has been for a couple of weeks, keeping the energy, keep playing every game like it means something can be difficult at times. But yet the entire time we've been here, this Florence squad has really enjoyed baseball. They don't only look like they're having fun playing this game, but they're also playing with a purpose, it still seems. Axel Johnson leads off this inning with a walk. Of course, they also have this ability right now to be playing heartbreaker against the Otters. Wady Almonte, the 9-hole hitter, who grounded right back up to Gossman his first time up, heading to the plate now with a man at first and nobody out. And as quickly as I looked away and looked back, Gateway has expanded their lead out to 8-1 now in the 2nd inning. Almonte wanted to show bunts, pulled away, but it didn't matter. It was a called strike 1 anyway. Otters right back at it tomorrow night. It's a 6:35 local time first pitch, so back in Evansville, 5:30. So don't miss that one. 0-1 to Almonte. Grounds one towards Armstrong at second. Plays it into the glove, over to first for the one sure thing out. As Johnson was zooming to second, really no chance. And it's just a 4-3 fielder's choice. The leadoff man, Craig Massey, heads to the plate 0 for 2 with a fly out to right and a ground out so far to his name. Good lead out there at second for Johnson. And Massey's going to call time prior to the first pitch of his at-bat. Gossman took a second to readjust his right shoe. Good to go now. On a pitching staff with a lot of lengthy guys, Gossman stands near the bottom of them at 5'10". Also standing 5'10" is Brennan McCurry and Jacob Bowles, but the rest of this staff, most of which are 6'2", 6'3", or higher. 1 ball, 1 strike for Massey. Choked up on the bat a little bit, trying to get the bat to come around a little quicker. The 1-1 is sent foul to the left side. Will end up bouncing into the upper concourse area. Tomorrow night, a 5:35 Central Time first pitch, and then a noon Central Time first pitch on Sunday. There's a really good chance that Sunday's game between Schaumburg and Joliet could mean something to the Otters. So it's entirely possible the Otters could come here to Florence, play their game, get on the bus, go home, get home, and still not know where they're playing on Tuesday, depending on how the series goes with Schaumburg. It's very, very possible that it will be 8, 9 p.m. on Sunday night when we finally learn who's the 2 seed, who's the 3 seed, just depending on how things go. Two balls, 2 strikes to Craig Massey. Gossman getting himself set. Pitch comes home, swung on and missed for strike 3, and Massey very upset there as Gossman grabs the German American Bank strikeout. So that brings Alberto Chavez to the plate with a man at second, 2 outs. Chavez on the day is 0 for 1, a strikeout and a walk so far to his name. Gossman taking his time prior to the first pitch home. It's on the way now. Thought about, and it's a called strike on the high outside corner. So Chavez is going to take a bit of a walk outside of the home plate circle and reset. Oh, 1 the count for Austin Gossman. Oh, 1 to the plate. This one's sent back up the middle. Khalil will make the play near second. His throw to first in time for out number 3. And we are on our way to the 6th inning. Evansville leads by 3. Top of the sixth inning, Miles Gordon, Andy Armstrong, and Justin Felix due up for the Otters. I got more good news for you. They're into the bottom of the second inning. Gateway still putting on the runs. They're up 8-1 against Lake Erie, and the Otters still on top of this one, 4-1. The starter for Lake Erie was only able to go one inning. He gave up 6 runs on 2 hits. Kevin Holcomb's day has come to an end. Nathan Holt having to come in out of the bullpen in the second inning. Try to keep you updated with what's going on there. 1-1 is the count for Gordon. Pitch comes home. Sent sharply to the right side. Played into the glove of Stern. He'll throw to first in time for out number 1. And now every time there's a ground out like that, we have to keep an eye over there on the first base umpire to make sure it's an out. After we're still unsure about earlier. Even when I went back and looked back at it, the first base umpire called Phillips out at first, and then something changed there in the next second, but there was no complaints, which is the thing that confuses me the most, is nobody complained about him staying out there. Swinging strike 1 for Armstrong, absolutely fooled on the first pitch. He was way out in front of it. Oh, 1 home. Catches the zone on the high outside corner. And the count's at 0-2 now for Andy Armstrong. A couple more updates for you around the Frontier League. Tri-City has evened things up with Empire State. They're in the top of the 5th inning, 4 runs apiece. Ball sent foul to the left side by Armstrong. Keeps his count at 0-2. In Joliet, the Slammers and the Boomers are tied at 3 runs apiece in the top of the 4th inning. Evansville is really hoping for a Joliet win tonight, because then if Evansville hangs on to their win and Joliet finds a way to win against Schaumburg, it would mean the Otters are just a half game out of second place and could potentially host Tuesday night's wild card game. (0-2) is the count for Armstrong. After 2 straight foul balls, the pitch comes home high for ball 1. Armstrong on the day is 1 for 2, had a single in the second inning. Looked like it was going to be an RBI single, but a good throw from Johnson and right took away Baez at home. And it was just a single for Armstrong. A swinging strike 3 that ends up in the turf will be thrown down for a strikeout. The 5th of the day for Villalobos. So here in the top of the 6th inning, there's now 2 outs, nobody on, and Justin Felix heading to the plate. First pitch home from Villalobos. Stays too low for ball 1. Villalobos has been very good in this game. You take away that whatever reasoning that Phillips reached first, and that's a very good start for him. It would be a 2-1 ball game, really. 1-0 to Felix. He thought about going around, and it falls in for a called strike 2. Or called strike 1, apologies. (1-1) stays high. And Felix takes the lead in the count. 2 balls, 1 strike. Tonight is the type of night that you wish that the Frontier League had like a ball sent out towards right. Dropping in as Johnson. Brings it in for out number 3. And it's a quick 3 outs for Evansville. We are on our way to the bottom half of the 6th. Evansville still leads by 3. into the top of the sixth inning, or sorry, bottom of the sixth inning here. The top half ended so quickly. Almost threw me off there. Gossman and the Otters return out to the defensive side of things, and it's been a solid start for Austin Gossman. Now it's all about how this and the next inning go, trying to keep it where it's at. He'll have to face the one man who has found a way to break the seal so far today, Brennan Price, to kick off this inning. Back in the first inning, Brennan Price drove a ball out towards center for a solo home run that at the time gave the Yells a 1-0 lead. First pitch home to Price. Foul tipped into the glove for a strike one, and Price, hefty swing there. Fell down to a knee as he came around. So with a lead in the count now at 0-1, Austin Gossman looking in towards his catcher, Justin Felix. 0-1 home. Outside, the count's even at 1-1. One ball, one strike. Cranked out towards right, but foul. Monster shot out there towards right, but it was in the wrong direction for Brennan Price. When he makes good contact with the ball, it is unreal. It pops off the bat so quickly. By the way, Price's home run in the first was his 100th hit of the season. A 1-2 to Brennan Price. Misses just barely to the outside, and our count's evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. A 2-2 to Brennan Price. Fouled off towards the right side. Two balls, 2 strikes for the first baseman, Brennan Price. Here with nobody out and nobody on, starting off the bottom of the 6th inning. Be a good out for Austin Gossman to grab right away to start this inning off. A 2-2 home to the first baseman, Brennan Price. Stays low for ball 3. And the count is now full for Brennan Price. Doesn't look like either bullpen working quite yet. And rightfully so. Both starters have been good. 3-2 home. Again fouled off to the right side, and the battle will continue. Three balls, 2 strikes for Brennan Price. And I'm taking time in my head quickly to try to remember all of the bullpens in this West Division. I don't think there's another bullpen in this division that is closed off from the rest of the field. I believe Florence is the only place. 3-2 once again to Brennan Price. Way outside for ball 4. And Price will reach with a leadoff walk. So Gossman has a trio of strikeouts and a trio of walks on the day. That will bring Ray Zuber to the plate. He's 1 for 2. There are quite a few individuals in the Evansville Otters bullpen that are up and walking around. I don't know if that means any of them are going to throw. But they are at least moving around. First pitch home. Finds the zone for a called strike one. Oh, 1 for Ray Zuberer. Pitch on the way. This is outside for ball one, and our count's evened up. I do see a man warming for Evansville now in their left field bullpen. Looks like Jacob Bowles out there. One to Ray Zuberer. Zoom to the right side, foul. Great contact, solid ball put down the right field line, but just stayed too far foul. And Elijah McNamee has fun out there with the kids, launches the ball high into the air and lets them all go for it. And the one who got it is extremely excited out there. 1 ball, 1 strike for Ray Zuberer. Pitch comes home from Gossman. Fouled down the third base line. They'll let it go foul. Good work from Davis to be patient with that one. He knew he wasn't going to make the throw down to first anyway, so he figured he might as well let it roll and was able to let it stay foul. And the count goes to 1-2. Davis will underhand it towards the fans in the front row over there. They'll all go diving after it. It's one of the things that the netting at Bosse Field really does not allow for is that player and fan interaction during the game. You certainly see it here. Lots of fans right down there on the front row trying to get baseballs from their favorite players. It's really cool to see. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ray Zuberer. Gossman will try again. Swinging strike 3, and it got in there towards Felix. And that is good for strikeout number 100 on the year for Austin Gossman. Back-to-back seasons, he's had 100-year strikeouts. Was part of the Otters' record-setting pitching staff last year. They set the record for the most amount of strikeouts in a single season last year in the Frontier League. And Gossman was one of the ones that really helped lead the way. So that'll bring up Bryant Fletche with 1 out and 1 man on. First pitch is in there for a called strike. Price at first sets up a potential double play for the Otters, and because of that, they are playing in their double play positioning. Still don't see anyone warming up for Florence, but it does look like Jacob Bowles continues to warm for Evansville. 0-1 home. Swinging strike. Fletche lost grip with one of his hands. Almost lost the bat for the second time tonight. Might need a second coat of pine tar. So the count's at 0-2 for Bryant Fletche. 1 man on, 1 man out. And time is taken. We'll reset for a second. Man at first, 1 out. 0-2 count to Fletche. Now Gossman set. Prior to the 0-2, it's outside for ball 1. So coming a little closer in the count now is Bryant Fletche. Price is at first after a leadoff walk, and a strikeout gave Gossman his first out. Now he's trying to grab a second one on The 1-2 pitch to Bryant Fletche. Here with a man on and a man out. A 1-2 home is foul tipped towards Felix and gets away from him. So the at-bat will continue. So Fletche lives to see another pitch after that foul tip back towards Felix. Counts at 1-2. Gossman kind of holding on to life right now. His pitch count starting to work up there. He's at 94. He's pitched into the hundreds plenty of times this year. The 1-2 once again. That one is in there for a swinging strike 3. And again, Fletche loses the bat out towards second base. And Andy Armstrong will pick it up and hand it off to the first base coach. It's a strikeout for the second time today for Fletche. And a lost bat for Fletche for the second time today. Back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts for Gossman. Have him in a spot where he could grab the final out. And the home plate umpire maybe bleeding or something. He's asking for some sort of assistance on that left side, holding his hand up. So it's possible that he got hit by some of that debris. He's asking for a towel. He must have gotten hit by some debris because he's holding that towel up to the left side of his neck. So there is a quick break, and as we are here, we'll take another look through the Frontier League scoreboard for you. They're into the bottom of the third in Sojay. Gateway still leads 8-1 over Lake Erie. There's a very good chance our game here will finish significantly before that game finishes. Significantly. So because of that, you're just going to have to keep an eye on our social medias tonight. If Lake Erie loses, we'll be the ones to let you know that it's good enough for Evansville to be in. Just keep an eye on the Otters social media. You might have to set up the notifications to come at you, but we'll make sure to let you know if Evansville is able to potentially claim their spot tonight. Step one is making sure they win here tonight. Looks like they're bandaging up our home plate umpire down there on the left side. Something on the left side of the face / left side of the neck was bleeding on it. It looks like we're all good now. Possible that broken bat got him a little bit. Although it didn't really look like the bat was broken. It looked like it was just let go of. So we've got 2 outs and 1 man on here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Ethan Stern heading to the plate. Brennan Price stands at first. He reached on a leadoff walk, and Gossman's now struck the last 2 men out. A lot on the line for the Otters this week. Trying to clinch their postseason spot, trying to potentially get into a spot where they could host the first round of the playoffs. And a first pitch strike to Ethan Stern kicks off the at-bat. Counts now even at 1-1 after the high inside offering. If Gossman cannot make it through this half inning, Jacob Bowles is ready to go. A 1-1 home. Stays into the high inside corner for a called strike 2 now. One ball, 2 strikes for Ethan Stern. Pitch comes home high and in, and it actually catches Stern, and there's runners at first and second now. It looked like Gossman was trying to get that to break back in towards the zone. It never did. And because of it, there's now men at first and second after the hit by pitch. So Felix goes out and has a quick chat with his pitcher, Austin Gossman, just to refresh. So that'll now bring up Luke Harper with 2 men on and 2 men out. Gossman really taking his time to get set. First pitch is low and in for ball 1. A great stop for Felix to make sure it doesn't get past. And now Davis is going to go in and have a chat with his pitcher, Austin Gossman. He doesn't even make it to his pitcher before he gets sent back. Maybe it was just Davis saying, hey, you got this. You're all right. Counts at 1 ball, no strikes for Luke Harper. Gossman taking his time to make sure he's ready for this pitch. Now the 1-0 comes home. Finds the zone for a called strike on the outside edge, and we're even at 1-1. Counts even at 1-1. It's sent out towards center. Miles Gordon chasing back towards the warning track, and he brings it in for out number 3. We are on our way to the 7th inning. Evansville still leads by 3. Top of the 7th inning, Evansville holding tight to a 4-1 lead. This is the time where if Evansville wants to make the claim that they're one of the best teams in this league, they prove it by being a team that can get insurance in these clutch moments. You're closing in on potentially getting a big win here. This is a chance where you want to grab some insurance runs. Make sure that when you get the bullpen involved, they have plenty of lead to deal with. George Khalil, Elijah McNamee, and J.R. Davis due up here in the 7th. George Khalil takes a called strike one to kick things off. 0-1 home now is grounded towards the left side. Be played by Chavez. The jump and throw is going to be late over to first. And George Khalil is going to get himself an infield single. And George Khalil has himself a 3-hit outing. And for George Khalil, that is the first 3 hits game of the season for him. So great work from the Australian. Unsure if that's the first 3-game hit of his career, as he did have some time with Sioux City last year, but I don't believe he hit it. I just don't want to make the claim until I'm sure. So I'll do a bit of digging and make sure that that is. But it does look as if that's the first 3-hit game of Khalil's career. And we're still only in the 7th inning. He could add another. 1-0 pitch home to Elijah McNamee, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, and there for a called strike, and the count evens at 1-1. Ball crushed out towards left, down for another base hit, and the Otters keep the line moving. 2 singles to kick off this 7th inning, and there's men at first and second after McNamee slapped one into left field as well. And that will cause a discussion on the mound. Wonder if we might see a change in pitcher for the Yalls. Not yet, but now that I see the fist pumps around it, we are going to get a change in pitcher. We'll let you know who's coming in for Florence right after this. Evansville trying to add to their 3-run lead. Pitching change for this Y'all's squad. Cameron Farrer gets the nod out of the right field pin. This is called a bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Brings up J.R. Davis, one of the best RBI men on this squad. His first pitch, he showed bunt, pulled away, and hard to tell if it went off of a piece of his bat. Both runners moved forward, so it must have gone off of the glove and not off of the bat, and because of it, Florence is going to have a discussion. They think it went off the bat of Davis. Rightfully so. It sounded like it went off the bat. The catcher, Harper, is saying it didn't go off my glove. And I imagine that the umpires will meet and talk about this potentially, because they're trying to say it went off of the bat of Davis, which is what it looked like it did, and they will have a discussion about it real quick. As of right now, a pass ball has allowed both men to advance. We'll see if that stands. So they've talked for a second, and it looks like they're saying nobody saw elsewise, so the runners will stay advanced. So Evansville now has two men in scoring position with nobody out. It's a wild pitch that advances both. High inside pitch for Davis. Has him fall back to a 2-0 count. The Y'alls are playing well in with the infield, trying to keep Evansville from scoring an additional run. This could be a couple of huge runs of insurance for Evansville. (2-0) home to Davis. Stays high for ball 3. (3-0). Stays outside. The bases are loaded after a walk to J.R. Davis. And that brings up Dakota Phillips with the bases loaded and nobody out. A huge chance for Phillips to add to Evansville's lead. So a difficult situation here for Farrer. Bases loaded, nobody out. The first pitch home to Dakota Phillips. Cranked out towards right. Almonte chasing back towards the wall. And it is gone. A grand slam for Dakota Phillips. And it is indeed a party. They tag out Phillips as he rounds third, but it is a grand slam for him. It's a party. It's a party. 4 runs for the Otters, and they lead 8-1. That's the Dakota Phillips that the Otters wanted to see come back, and he is back. Florence is trying to say it did not leave the yard, as the center fielder Almonte is trying to say it did not leave this place. But our umpire on the first base side of things signaled the home run, so the Otters trotted around. So some discussion to decide what's going to happen here. But at least the call on the field is a grand slam for Dakota Phillips. We'll see if that stands. This could be a huge momentum piece in this game if this is upheld. Still discussion going on out there. Still talking about things. Florence played this as if it was a double to center field. Almonte hurried for the ball, threw it in, and the rest of the Y'alls were playing it as if that's exactly what it was. But our umpire on the right side of the infield immediately signaled for the home run. So the Otters, outside of J.R. Davis, who was sprinting around the bases like his life depended on it, outside of him, the rest of the Otters were kind of trotting around as if it was indeed a grand slam, because that's what it was ruled on the field. But there is still discussion going on over there. That's such a hard play to overturn in a situation like this. And it's looking like the play is likely going to be upheld, as I don't think there's really anything they could change, as both of the corner infielders were signaling the home run. So it's going to be upheld. A grand slam for Dakota Phillips. It is indeed a party. And Evansville leads by 7. And that could be a backbreaker in this game. It seemed like Florence was starting to get their feet under them offensively, kind of working at Austin Gossman, likely causing a pitching change in our next half inning. Was going to be a big next half inning, but this has really crippled things. Called strike to Brian Rosario, kicks off this next at-bat. Because Farrer's a righty, we see Rosario switch over to the other side of the batter's box, now batting as a lefty. 0-1 comes home, and it's fouled off to the right side into the netting and down into the Otters dugout. Brian Rosario waiting on the 0-2. Pitch on the way. Cranked out towards right. It's down for a base hit. Drops over the head of Stern out there near second. And Evansville bringing the men around well to start the 7th. This is what great teams do. This is where you see the difference between a good baseball club and a great baseball club. Which ones can come out in the innings right where it's time to make a pitching change and really punish an opposing team for either A, leaving the starter in too early, B, yanking him too early, any of those things. Which baseball clubs can punish opposing teams in those scenarios, and the Otters are doing that right now. Brings up Zach Biermann, his first pitch. Inside, low for ball 1. So for the Otters, it is their 5th grand slam of the year, the second one that belongs to Dakota Phillips. His last one came on June 19th at Lake Erie. 1-0 swung on and missed for Biermann. And the swinging strike evens our count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. A 1-1 to Biermann. Swinging strike 2 was ahead of that pitch. We'll give you another check-in on both Schaumburg and Lake Erie here after the next at-bat. 1-2 to Zach Biermann. Man at first, nobody out. Pitch comes home. Stays high for ball 2. Why not take a quick glance now? In so, Jay, they're in the top of the 5th inning now. Gateway still up 8-1 over Lake Erie. That's what the Otters want to see happen. They need Gateway to hold on to that In the bottom of the sixth, they are still tied at 3 runs apiece between Schaumburg and Joliet. Big game there. Ball fouled back into the netting. Keeps our count at 2-2 for Zach Biermann. Also noteworthy is Quebec is down to their last couple of outs, down 4-1 to Ottawa. That's a win that Ottawa needed to grab. So interesting to see how that one's playing out. 2-2 to Biermann. Stays high for ball 3 now. Brian Rosario with a good lead over at first with nobody out. And a 3-2 count to Zach Biermann. Swinging strike 3 on a low inside offering. And the first out of the inning belongs to Zach Biermann with the strikeouts. So that now brings up the lefty Miles Gordon. Gordon is 1 for 3 with a 2-run single back in the third. He was stranded at second. He advanced to second on the single as well because of the throw, and then was stranded there later in the inning. That was the Otters' second 2-run hit of that inning. First offering home to Gordon. Finds the zone for a called strike 1. Rosario with a good lead over there at first. 0-1. Gordon foul tips it back towards Harper, and it's good for strike 2. So it's a 8-1 advantage for Evansville. After that grand slam from Dakota Phillips. The 0-2 home, and time was called prior to the pitch. Or maybe it wasn't. Yeah, so it is 0-2 because time was called prior to the pitch. Thought I heard him shout, and it looked like Gordon stepped back. So the count remains 0-2. It's fouled off to the right side, and we'll stay here at 0-2. Miles Gordon behind in the count 0-2 with 1 out, man at first. Pitch on the way home. That one's fouled off back to the left. And we remain at 0-2. Evansville's gotten themselves some insurance here. Does kind of look like Gossman's day is over, as he's been right up there with some of his offensive teammates, fist bumping guys as they've come in. Might see Bowles in the next half inning now. 1-2 home. Called strike 3 on the high inside corner. And it's back-to-back strikeouts for Cameron Farrer. So now Andy Armstrong heads to the plate. 1 man on, 1 man out. Otters have brought 4 runs home in the inning. First pitch home, fouled back into the netting. A neat little milestone for Andy Armstrong tonight, playing in his 150th ball game. Good to see the Otters starting to have some guys hit these milestones. Oh, 1 comes home to Armstrong, misses outside, and our count evens. 1 ball, 1 strike. A lot of fans tonight, like I've mentioned a couple times, but they're all sticking around as there is post-game fireworks for the final time this year. They're kicking off their fan appreciation weekend here at Florence, and fans are trying to stick around for it. 1-1, finds the zone near the knees for a called strike 2 and drops back Armstrong. A 1-2, coming home to the second baseman Armstrong. Sent right back up the middle, through for a base hit. Rosario's going to try to extend himself out to third, and he will make it. So Armstrong has his second hit of the day, and this time he actually gets to stay on base. So there's men at first and third with 2 outs, and Justin Felix heading to the plate. Justin Felix on the day, 1 for 3, a single and 2 flyouts to right field. First pitch home is sent foul to the left side into the netting of the Florence dugout. The 0-1 for Justin Felix. Swinging strike has dropped Felix back to an 0-2 count. 2 outs, men at the corners. Evansville trying to add to their 8-1 lead. Armstrong at first, Rosario at third. The 0-2 pitch to Felix is well outside, and a great stop from Harper. Keeps that ball close enough. Counts at 1-2 for Justin Felix. Felix, the 9th batter to come to the plate for Evansville here in the inning. Ball's grounded off to the right side, in and out of the hand of Billy Easley, the first base coach. It's the second time tonight that the Otters have had 9 men come to the plate. One ball, 2 strikes for Justin Felix. Men at the corners with 2 outs. Evansville's already scored 4 in the half inning thanks to Phillips' grand slam. And Fair is going to step off to reset. A 1-2 for Justin Felix. Once again fouled back, sent over near his coaches, and they go diving out of the way. Both Bobby Siegel and Max Peterson were trying to avoid that one. One ball, 2 strikes for Justin Felix after a couple extra foul balls. Let's try again. 2 outs, runners at the corners. The 1-2 stays outside, and Harper with another good scoop to keep it in front of him. And everything's even at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. At this point, Evansville just looking for some extra insurance. The 2-2 for the catcher, Justin Felix. Lifted out towards right, dropping back a few steps is Johnson, and he'll bring it in for out number 3. Evansville scores 4 on Dakota Phillips' grand slam. They lead big as it's time to stretch here in Florence. Bottom of the 7th inning, Grove Street Party playing through the halls of Evansville right now after Dakota Phillips' grand slam has given the Otters plenty of breathing room, and with that, a pitching change will take place. Jacob Bowles, the other University of Southern Indiana prospect, comes in for the Otters. This call to the bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Bowles on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Greenville Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Bowles last pitched last night at Washington, gave up no runs on 2 hits in 1 full inning, also struck out 2. Axel Johnson will be the first man due up in the half inning. Johnson will be followed by Almonte and Massey. First pitch home. Misses for ball 1. Johnson so far in the game, 0 for 1 with a foul out and a walk. The 1-0 offering home stays outside for ball 2. These two squads are right back at it tomorrow night. 6:35 local time first pitch, 5:35 back home in Evansville. You can catch the game right here on the Otters Digital Network, 100% free. 2-0 home. Crank towards right, and a grab from Zach Biermann at first. Climbs the ladder and brings the ball down with him for the first out of the inning. So that'll bring Wady Almonte to the plate now. Almonte's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a grounded to fielder's choice. By the way, we can close the book officially on the day for Austin Gossman. For Gossman, he goes 6 full innings, giving up 1 earned run on 4 hits, struck out 5. And it just kind of looked like towards the end of things, it was starting to run out of juice, and it was just a let's be safe and go to the new arm. We have the lead. Let's keep it. One 0 to the plate, in there for a called strike that evens the count at 1-1. Almonte waiting on a 1-1. Pitch on the way is sent foul to the left side into the netting. And the count drops to 1-2. We do have our first final score of the evening from around the Frontier League. Ottawa defeats Quebec 4-1. That's a big win for the Titans. That helps them almost solidify one of the 3 playoff spots. There's still a lot that could happen, but that certainly helps them over there in the East. The 1-2 fouled off to the left side. Went off the mask of Felix for a second, and they give him time to reset and rattle the cage a little bit for a catcher. In the top of the 9th, Washington about to close out an 8-2 win against Windy City. The significance of that win is at this point now, Washington can bring themselves a little bit closer to evening up Quebec. They'd be just 1 game back of the league lead for wins, as those 2 squads are duking it out for the regular season champion. 1-2 fouled off to the left side. Watch out up there. Goes bouncing towards the kids area. Looks like everyone's all good though. So we're going to continue at a 1-2 offering for Wady Almonte. 1 out, nobody on in the bottom half of the 7th inning. One ball, 2 strikes. Misses to the outside edge, and with it our count evens up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, the Otters are hoping that Gateway can hold on to things there in Sojay. They're currently in the top of the 6th inning, up 8-1 on Lake Erie. Evansville hangs on to their win. Gateway hangs on to theirs. The Otters are in the playoffs. But again, it's possible our game could conclude before that game finishes up. So keep an eye on our social media. We'll let you know once we know a final from Sojay. Two balls, two strikes for Wady Almonte, the 9-hole hitter for this Florence team. Bowles kicks and delivers on a 2-2. And it's fouled back into the netting behind home. Remarkably, it looked like it hit the brick backing 3 or 4 times on the top. Two balls, two strikes. Good work from Almonte to keep himself alive. Found a lot of pitches off. So Bowles will have to try again on the 2-2 for Almonte. Foul tipped ball again, just sent weakly to the right side, gets itself foul, stays foul, and we remain 2 balls, 2 strikes for Almonte. They're about to go final in the battle for the Garden State. They're at Sussex County. The Jackals are up 7-1 on Sussex County right now. And that would be a harsh loss for Sussex County as they are right there in the middle of that fight for the East Division. There are 4 teams fighting for the last 2 spots in the East, and the Otters could take away the last battle in the West today. A high outside pitch takes our count full now for Wady Almonte. We knew it was going to be the final weekend of the season when we finally figured out playoff teams. And it goes to show just how good the competition is here in the Frontier League. I mean, just about everybody has had themselves in this fight for a long time. Hard shot over to Khalil at short. His long throw across. Is it in time? Not quite. Oh, so close at first, but it's called safe. Khalil just about had another outstanding play to add to his endless highlight reel this year. But that one will be considered an infield single for Wady Almonte. So back to the top of the order we go, where Craig Massey heads to the plate. Otters will go to double play positioning with 1 man on, 1 man out. Nice breeze starting to blow through Thomas More Stadium. Beautiful night for baseball. First pitch home. Stays high and outside for ball 1. Again, if Evansville can clinch their ticket, we still won't know for sure whether that game Tuesday night is at Schaumburg or at Bosse Field in Evansville. Just kind of depends on how things fall in these last couple of nights. Try to keep you up to date with everything we know. 1-0 to Massey. This one's chopped towards Armstrong at second. He tags the man to throw to first in time. My goodness. Armstrong does it himself. A 4-3 grounded a double play after Armstrong tags out the man on his way to second, throws out to first, and we are on our way to the 8th inning. Otters lead by 7. Pitching change for the Y'alls as we make our way into the top of the 8th inning. It'll be Darian Williams, the righty, that will get the nod out of that right field pin. This call to the bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Williams on the mound. Harper behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. The 9-1-2 due up of Khalil, McNamee, and Davis. First pitch is across for a called strike one for George Khalil. Khalil grabbed a single his last time up. It was good for his first 3-hit outing of his entire career. And a hefty swinging strike will drop him back 0-2. Little did we know he was going to have the chance to make it potentially a 4-hit game. (0-2), offering to Khalil. Bounces in for ball one on the outside. Takes our count to 1-2 strikes. Top of the 7th inning at Joliet. Schaumburg and Joliet tied at 3 runs apiece, still in a big game here in this West Division. 1-2 home. Swinging strike 3, and Khalil down for the first time today, this time with a strikeout. So Khalil will see his big game have a slight hiccup here in the 8th inning. Still a solid outing for him. Elijah McNamee heads to the plate now, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game. He's 1 for 4 with a single in the 7th. Came around to score on Phillips' grand slam. First pitch is high for ball one. One ball, no strikes. And that's fouled back into the netting. McNamee kind of stopped halfway through that swing and made contact, and the ball kept going. Otters are trying to grab themselves a very important win tonight, as it could be the win that helps send them to the 2022 postseason. 1-1 home is sent foul back into the netting again. McNamee just barely got a hold of that pitch. On the season, Darian Williams 0 for 1 officially with a 13.5 ERA. He's appeared 4 times. One of those came at Evansville, and he gets himself a strikeout, second in a row against Khalil, and then McNamee now. So that will now bring up J.R. Davis with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. J.R. Davis so far in this game, 1 for 3. His 2-run double, at least right now, is good for the RBI, or the game-winning RBI. A pitch finds the zone on the outside and evens our count up. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 is skied high. It's going to get itself out of play back towards the upper concourse and bounce into the party deck, where someone makes a nice grab and he gets a good applause. 2 more games on the regular season for Evansville. Tomorrow night starts at 6:35 local, 5:35 Evansville time. We'll have it for you here on the Otters Digital Network. Hopefully, we'll be talking about the playoff Evansville Otters. Ball fouled off to the right side. It's going to get itself out of play. It was hanging on that first base line, but then kept working foul and foul, and eventually did. And Davis will work himself back home before the next edition of a 1-2. Otters up by 7. They've done work to make sure they stay ahead in this one. 1-2 home. Stays low, and we're even up at 2 balls, 2 strikes now. Let's try it on the 2-2 offering to J.R. Davis. Sent up the middle, a diving play, and Chavez can't get to it at short, and it's through for a base hit for J.R. Davis. And the Otters have themselves another base hit, up to 11 on the day. Dakota Phillips returns to the plate, with Grove Street Party still echoing in the background. His first pitch finds the zone for a called strike. Phillips grand slammed. Grand slam. I'm not sure if you can use that in past tense. Hit a grand slam. Will be grammatically correct. Hit a grand slam in the 7th. That gave Evansville their 7-run lead. But there was talk about the grand slam, as Almonte thought it had bounced out there, so they thought it shouldn't have been a grand slam. They tried tagging him out on his way around third, but he had been given the signal of a home run, and he trotted home on the grand slam. Earlier in the game, though, he reached on what looked like a routine ground out that we never got clarification on either. So Dakota Phillips has had himself a controversial day from the spectator's point of view, but in the stat book, he's done work to get himself on a couple times. 2-1 home. Swinging strike evens our count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Have another final. Washington defeats Windy City 8-2 there in Pennsylvania. Ball cranked out towards center from Phillips. Almonte's underneath it. Brings it in for out number 3. On our way to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Evansville up by 7. Bottom of the 8th inning, Evansville up 8-1. Right now it's a duo of 2-run base hits in the third and then a grand slam from Phillips in the seventh that have Evansville up in this one big. Otters are one step closer, or at least getting close, to potentially punching their ticket to the 2022 postseason. If they can hold on and win this game, all they need is Gateway to defeat Lake Erie, which right now, Gateway's up 8-1 there in Sauget as well. If Lake Erie falls and the Otters finish this one up, the Otters are a postseason team. Keep your eye on our social media tonight. We'll let you know as soon as that all becomes official. 0-1 home, stays high and in, and evens our count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. So far, Alberti Chavez 0 for 2, strikeout and fielder's choice, all alongside a walk. First pitch home towards him. Swinging strike, has him back in the count 1-2 now. So the count's at 1-2 for the shortstop Chavez, who's had a wonderful day defensively, but has not been able to answer it offensively. One-two home. Is pushed foul to the right side. Alberti Chavez making his way towards the plate. Bowles ready to go on the 1-2. It's fired home. Broken bat. Ball goes to the left side. Picked up by Davis. The throw to first in time for an out. And there goes some more. Wood for the fire. He'll get your new lumber at Niehaus Lumber. The bat went further than the ball there, as the top half of the bat ended up where George Khalil usually stands out at short. Officially the outs 5-3. And Brennan Price heads back to the plate. He's 1 for 2 with a solo home run in the first, walked in the sixth, but was stranded at second later in the inning. First pitch in for a called strike on Price. Price really has that pop in his bat. Got to be careful. 0-1. Stays outside. Another update for you from Sauget as the Grizzlies have scored 2 more and are ever helping Evansville tonight. Otters needed themselves a win and a Lake Erie loss, and they are well on their way to both of those things being come true tonight. It's been a night with lots of positives. Not only, of course, are the Otters able to potentially pinch their postseason ticket. We've seen Phillips have a good game. We saw George Khalil have his first 3-hit game of his career. Ball sent foul off to the left side. Davis is going to run out of room as it goes 8 rows up in the seating area. So Price drops down to 2-2. And they just went final in the Battle of the Garden States between New Jersey and Sussex County. The Miners score a run, but despite scoring a run, New Jersey has no hit Sussex County. You know, that was a game that Sussex County really needed to win. So the fact that they struggle in the fact that they go and get no hits things really have to turn around for the Miners these next 2 days if they want to make sure they're going to be a postseason team. 2-2 home. Sent grounding to the right side into the glove of Biermann. He'll underhand it to Bowles at first, and that's out number 2. I'm actually not sure if that is the first no-hitter this season in the Frontier League. I want to say it is, but I'm just not sure. It is a big win for New Jersey as they were able to just play spoiler this week, and that's what they're going to try to keep doing. So Ray Zuber heads to the plate. 2 up, 2 down in front of him here in the half inning. Pitch home. Stays outside for ball 1. So what a night we've had in the Frontier League, and we are still not done. The 1-0 finds the zone for a called strike, and we're even at 1 ball, 1 strike. The 2-0 outside, ball 3. Actually, not ball 3, it's 2-1 count. Ray Zuber, who hails from not too far down the road from Bosse Field, Owensboro, Kentucky. Fouls one off behind home, and his count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes now. And before we get the next pitch, Zuber reapplying some pine tar there on the bat. Two balls, 2 strikes for Ray Zuber. Two home. Stays outside for ball 3, and we'll have a payoff pitch. When we get to the 9th, the Otters will be bringing up Rosario, Biermann, and Gordon for what they hope is the last time tonight. 3-2. Payoff pitch to Zuber. Inside ball 4. And a man will reach with 2 outs after Zuber's walk. It'll bring up Bryant Fletche, who's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts on the day. So getting a little bit of a lead over there is Ray Zuber. Now he takes a few extra steps. Bowles fires home the first pitch to Fletche. It's inside for ball 1. Don't see anyone warming for either squad right now. I imagine we might see someone start warming in the top of the 9th for Evansville to potentially come pitch the bottom of the 9th. Of course, not quite sure though. The 1-0 home. Gets past Felix. Got between. It was into the glove, but then somehow fell out, got through his legs, and Zuber is going to reach on the pass ball. So right as I wondered if that was the first no-hitter of the season, Frontier League tweets out that it's the first one since July 22nd that the Joliet Slammers threw, so it's not the only one this year. Ball zoomed down the right field line. Is it fair? It's foul. Right down the right field line. Florence thought for sure it was fair. But Thurman down there at the first baseline said no. The Yalls surely would have scored. Would have been extra bases. A 2-1 makes its way home. Inside for ball 3 now. Three balls, one strike. Pitch home to Fletche. Stays. Oh, looked like it was going to be inside. It was a called strike, though. And we've got a full count. So with 2 outs, we've got a full count for Bryant Fletche. Bowles fires home. It's lifted high, foul to the left side. It's going to get out of play. It'll end up on the berm up there, and the kids will go running after it. Still a full count for Fletche with 2 outs and a man at second. Three-2 to the plate. Stays low and in, and it will be a walk for Fletche. And there are men at first and second. Looks like now there's some movement in the Evansville bullpen. And Max Peterson's going to go have a chat with his pitcher. Peterson brings in his entire infield to discuss some things, make sure everything's all good with their pitcher Bowles. Luckily, their lead they've got has helped them out. Looks like Jake Polancic is starting to throw for the Otters out there in the left field pen. Meeting at the mound has concluded. There's 2 men on, 2 men out, and Ethan Stern heading to the plate. Certainly a bat that has some pop on it. Bowles started off the inning grabbing a couple of quick ground outs, but now has walked 2 men on. Stern has 2 singles and a hit by pitch to his name so far today. His first offering from Jacob Bowles. High inside, ball 1. Polancic starting to throw a little quicker out there in left field. This is where those runs of insurance feel a lot more comfortable for Evansville. One-0 home. Misses low and outside, and it's a 2-0 count. Gateway, by the way, has extended their lead once again. They're up 11-1 against Lake Erie now in the bottom of the 6th. They are still even at 3 in the bottom of the 8th at Joliet. 2-0 offering does find the zone and brings Bowles a little closer. Tri-City has found a whole lot of insurance, and it looks like they're going to be able to get a win against Empire State. Tri-City has the chance now to hop Sussex there in the standings. Two-one is a hefty swinging strike, too. And our count's evened up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 men on. Otters getting closer and closer to that playoff berth. A win here tonight and Lake Erie loss at Sojay puts the Otters in. 2-2 home from Jacob Bowles. It's sent out foul to the right side. Will get out of play. Don't forget that the Otters and the Alls are right back at it tomorrow. 6:35 first pitch local time, 5:35 back home in Evansville. You can catch the game for free right here on the Otters Digital Network. We'll have every pitch for you. Justin Watland gets the nod for the Otters tomorrow night. He'll face off against Jeremy Ovalle. 2-2 home to Stern. Finds the zone for a called strike 3. The inning ends, and we are on to the 9th. Evansville ever so close to punching their ticket to the 2022 postseason. As we head to the top of the 9th, we've got some changes. Coming into pitch will be the third baseman, Bryant Fletche. He will pitch. So because of that, Ray Zuberer will cover third. Because of that, Axel Johnson will move over to left. And because of that, Cooper Edwards will enter the game to play right field. So I assume that means that Edwards will also take over likely. We'll see exactly where he ends up taking over. Could be in the DH spot. could be in Fletche's spot. Regardless, the Otters are going to bring Rosario, Biermann, and Gordon to the plate to face Bryant Fletche on the mound. First pitch home from Fletche. In there for a called strike one. 88 mile an hour from the third baseman's first pitch. Not the first time this year that we've seen Fletche do both. Ball fouled away, and Rosario's back in the count 0-2. Long wait as Rosario finally steps back in. The Crushers have scored a run. Still down by 9, though. 11-2 now in the top of the 7th. Rosario able to check his swing and keeps himself alive at 1-2 in the count. Ball misses high and in for ball 2, and our count evens up. 2 balls, 2 strikes now for Brian Rosario. We're even at 2-2. Fletche kicks and delivers. In there for a called strike 3. And it's the second time Rosario struck out looking today. That'll bring up Zach Biermann, the Otters' first baseman, who is 0 for 3 with a walk, 2 strikeouts, and a flyout. First pitch home. Inside ball 1. One-0 to the plate again inside. Biermann's ahead in the count now, 2-0. Two-0 to Biermann. A swinging strike on the inside drops him back to 2-1. Due up next is Miles Gordon. 2-1 home. Swinging strike 2, and our count's evened up. Two home. Stays high. And the count's now full to the first baseman, Biermann. Again inside, and Biermann's going to get himself a 1-out walk. Second time that Biermann has reached on a walk today. So that'll bring up Miles Gordon now. 1 man on, 1 man out. First one in, outside ball 1 for Gordon. Ball zoomed down the right field line by Gordon. Is it fair? No, it lands foul. Goes rolling across the street out there as well. That ball was hammered by Gordon, but just foul. Gordon this year has had his fair share of 9th inning home runs, most of which have come at home. Ball stays low, and because of it, count goes to 2-1 now. Again, still not impossible for Evansville to host Tuesday night. It would take Schaumburg losing a couple of games, though, to help them out. 2-1 sitting down the first base line, picked up by Price. He'll just step on first, but he won't have a second play. Biermann's going to reach second, and it's going to be a first base unassisted fielder's choice. And Andy Armstrong heads to the plate with 2 outs and 1 man on. First pitch to Armstrong, in there for a called strike 1. Armstrong has reached twice with singles, but he's been left at first both times. Oh, 1. Fouled back into the netting. The count's at 0-2 now. Evansville's done their job tonight. Now they're just hoping Gateway can finish up their part of the deal. The Grizzlies are up 11-2 in the bottom of the 7th right now. It would just be them finishing things out there in Sauget. 0-2 home. Crank to the left side into the glove of Zuber. He throws over to first for out number 3. We're on to the bottom of the 9th. The Owls need 7 to keep this game going. Bottom of the 9th inning, Kevin Davis in to pitch the 9th for Evansville. This call to the bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It is Davis on the mound, Felix behind the plate. The pitcher-catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. First pitch home, stays high for ball 1 on Davis. For Davis, his last time out came that middle game at Washington a couple nights ago. Gave up no runs on 1 hit in his 2 full innings. Sends one in for another ball, and he's behind the count 2-0 now to Luke Harper. 2-0 home. In there for a called strike. Really got to see Davis used for the first time when the team went to both Windy City and Joliet. And of course, with Davis being nearby, his family was there for the entire series. It was nice to see him get some love as he picked up some strikeouts. And ever since, he's been a pretty consistent reliever. Outside of the one rough game he had about a week and a half ago, he's been very good. The 2-2 home to Luke Harper on the way from Kevin Davis. Outside and high for ball 3. Still no other games gone final yet. Just those 3 we have already told you about, but a couple are getting awfully close. 3-2 home. Fouled back into the netting and will remain at a full count. New York and Trois-Rivières are getting close to going final. It's currently a 8-7 lead for New York in the top half of the 9th inning. And the Tri-City Valley Cats are getting close to a 12-6 win against Empire State, down to their last couple of outs in that one. 3-2 home, fouled off to the left side. A late decision to swing from Harper, and because of it, it fouled off. Three balls, 2 strikes. A payoff pitch home to Harper is fouled back into the netting once again. Davis keeps zooming it home, and Harper keeps fouling it away. A 3-2 payoff pitch. Once again to Luke Harper. Again fouled back into the netting. Davis keeps attacking the zone. Harper keeps fouling him away. Otters trying to close out this very important win. Ball sent to the right side. Long run for Armstrong. He brings it in. His throw to first is well offline, but Felix is there to pick it up. It gets away from him for a second. The throw out to second's going to be late, and it will be an error on Armstrong. Or maybe an error on Felix, actually, as he was the one who did not transfer the ball well. Probably would have been an infield single anyway. And then the throwing error is what allows Harper to reach second. So there's a man at second with nobody out. Davis was ever so close to grabbing a strikeout in that at-bat. Zooming the ball home, but he couldn't sneak it past Harper, and now Harper's going to try to keep himself alive. First pitch home, stays high, ball 1. The 1-0 to Johnson. That's in for a called strike. The count is even. The 1-1 now to Johnson. Finds his own for a called strike 2. One ball, 2 strikes for Axel Johnson. Takes it for ball 2, and his count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We try again, this time on a 2-2 offering to Axel Johnson. Davis slings it to the plate. It stays low and inside, and it's a full count. Davis trying to keep himself alive in the counts and not allow a second man to reach here in the ninth. Three balls, two strikes for Johnson. Kevin Davis fires home. Swinging strike three, and a German-American Bank strikeout for Davis. Grabs out number one in the ninth. Been quite the day for Evansville's pitchers. Other than the solo home run, they've given up, if you take away that one run and that one hit, so they've given up 5 hits and have combined for now 8 strikeouts. Waiting for the first pitch to Almonte. Pitch comes home and it's swung through for strike one. Almonte on the day, 1 for 3, had a single back in the 7th inning. It was part of a impressive double play from Armstrong as he tagged out Almonte and then threw it out to first. 0-1 home. In there for a called strike two. Oh, 2 for Almonte. Pitch comes home. Called strike three. Back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts for Kevin Davis. And the Otters are just 1 out away from potentially punching their ticket to this season's postseason. Cooper Edwards, ready to have his first at-bat of the day. Comes across for a called strike one. Man at second and 2 outs. Davis already ahead in the count 0-1. 0-1 pitch home. In there for a called strike two. The Otters looking for their final strike in this one. Oh, 2, the count for Edwards. Davis looking to end this one for Evansville. The 0-2 home. Called strike three. The Otters win this one, and they are just hoping for 2 more solid innings from Gateway to clinch their spot in the postseason. Evansville started this game behind after giving up the run due to the home run from Brendan Price. From there, it was all Otters. They managed a couple different 2-run hits in that 3rd inning, and then in the 7th, a grand slam for Dakota Phillips delivered the Otters to the promised land in this one. They win the game 8-1 and are now just waiting to hear from Sojay, where they just need a win from the Grizzlies to clinch their spot in this postseason. The Otters are right back at it here tomorrow night, a 6:35 first pitch here in Florence, 5:35 back home. You can listen right here on the Otters Digital Network. Keep an eye on our social medias tonight. The Otters are going to try to clinch their postseason berth. Keep an eye there. We'll let you know if they do it. Otters win this one 8-1. From all of us here at the Evansville Otters, I'm Matthew Will saying so long from Florence. I'll talk to you tomorrow night where the Otters and Florence continue their